everybody. Figured since some people were asking for some type of magic related content, I would give some. So what I'm going to do is actually go over the new set and kind of what I think of it. This is Dragons of Tarkir. Let me click back into this window so I can actually sort it out. And that is the symbol. It apparently is going in on March 21st for pre-release, which is in 5 days. So this is going to be just a quick overview of the set. I haven't really looked at it. This is where I'm actually checking to see what's here, what's real. The full thing is apparently spoiled, as you see, 264 of 264. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm actually going to zoom in here. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good size. I'm lying. We'll go one more. Okay, so we have generic dragon, spirit. I call this generic because you see this exact set in a lot. Like, erase this, take out the picture, and turn it into an artifact creature, and you end up with this in a lot of different formats. The only benefit of this being completely colorless is that it's not an artifact. So, I mean, you can't Viridian Shaman it. Or whatever you chose to do. Let's see. We have a 2/2. Whenever another token comes in the field, bolster 1. Well, let's see. Choose creature. Oh, so you make the weakest thing stronger, which is you get the choice if you have the weakest creature, but it's not exactly something that you're looking forward to. I don't know how many of you are looking. Double strike, costs 3. Double strike, enters the battlefield, and gives something else double strike. Standard, possible. That's about it. If you're going for like a quick aggro deck, I guess these two would have a piece, especially this, because this would, if you've got some type of like little, what was, I'm trying to think of a good way, aggro, like, the deck archetype was White Weenie. I mean, if you're playing White Weenie and you put this in there, your chances are you're going to be doing a lot of damage quickly, and it's going to be very good in that. But outside of standard, it isn't no real play capabilities. I mean, modern, possibly, but I don't see very many aggro decks in modern like that. Most of them are combo based of some sort, or a combo that ends the game of some sort. Random pump, don't care. The fun part about pump is that it's only good when you're in battle or you're going to win the game. Double strike, enchantment, any aura I automatically have a negative feeling for because it leaves you open to too many 2-for-1s. Bolster 1 for under 2-1 flying for 5. That's not worth it. Double strike for a mega morph gets a +1/+1 counter when you morph it. Not worth it. If the morph cost was like 1, then this would actually be something, but it also wouldn't be uncommon. Protection of the color of your choice. So basically 2 times through you get to hit, you get to save something, and then you get to attack through. Excuse me if you heard that. Because that's the only thing you can use the rebound on your turn for. So this really isn't, unless you're needing to block something and then swing through for the win, this isn't something that's going to be useful to you. Champion lifelink. If this had double strike, we'd be able to use it, but unfortunately it's too highly costed and too low. But so Dragon Hunter blocks dragons as though it had reach. Doesn't matter. Defender first strike. Captain, again, doesn't matter. He costs too much to actually be able to care. Warrior, not worth it. Tap something. Too many of these cards have that without flying. That's even a worse limitation. Like, I'm thinking like Master Decoy and I would rather have Master Decoy than this. Not only is it cheaper, I believe Master, and I brought this up just in case. Let's see, you guys can see how bad my typing is and my spelling. Master Decoy, yeah, it costs 1 less. So you basically flip-flop. And this is a much better card because it can at least attack. So let's continuing on. Bolster 1. Well, that's... The fact that you can do it at will makes this a little bit better. But again, it's a enchantment, so... not exactly something that I'm looking forward to. Like that other one up here, let's see, let's do this. That way we can find out where we were. Scroll back up. This one at least happens whenever something happens, and of course I managed to hit the middle button. So, destroy, attacking, or blocking, and then bolster. Bolster seems to be getting pushed way too hard here. It must be the theme of one of the sets. This is the best part about having somebody who doesn't have a tie into the game anymore, because I'm not exactly paying attention to what the different archetypes and things are. We've got another 3-costed thing, so not useful in any aggro deck. Gets for each aura attached to it. It's an enchantress. And enchantresses really are good in their archetype, but there aren't enough worthwhile things to do with it that I've seen so far. +1/+1 for each other creature you control, vigilance, and tap bolster. Okay, so basically you give something else the ability to, or the +1/+1 counter for the turn, which is fine if you're end of turn whatnotting. But again, you are using this on another card, so best in draft or another limited format, not so as useful in a constructed format. Gets tap target creature an opponent controls. If this kept them tapped, that would be good, but you'd probably cost more than 1. So it's basically a free time through for 1, and then you get a blocker. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Overcosted, but whatever. I mean, we'll see when we get through here if there are any graveyard shenanigans that we can deal with as far as enchantments go. I mean, we're flying as long as that's +1/+1. Well, with all the stuff with bolster, I could see that actually getting used. Let's see, turn face down, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Okay, so this is God, there are cards for this. Best if you can bolster their creatures and then blow them up, but again, you don't want to have to be bolstering their creatures anyway. Is it a May ability? No. An opponent controls though. Okay, so you don't have to kill your own thing. Vigilance, tribal themed, whatever. 2/2 for 2. Was the other, are the most of these warriors human warrior, human warrior? That could see play if there's like a little white weenie deck. Sorcery pump. So basically you're gonna not fortify, but the other one twice. It gives you a quick way through. Hopefully they don't kill your creatures or stop your attack. Let's take a look at this thing that's mythic. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose one, tap target creature, gains first strike and lifelink, or exile it, return it to the battlefield. This is like Ghost Council, except for you can't take advantage of it in the same way. Like, this ability is what made Ghost Council really good, except for you could just use it to play 1 instead of when you played a non-creature spell, not a creature spell. So that actually does give a little bit. This could be the thing to look out for. Good control card. It gives you a chance to get through. You could use something like the rebound here, and then you'd be able to tap something that's their blocker, and then on your turn tap it again, or the instant thing that gives protection where you just phase him out and protect something else. That's a possibility. So this is actually a card that you should look out for as far as I would be concerned. Reveal dragon card. Flying Defender. If you reveal the dragon, you can attack. Or no, you can draw a card. Okay, so this is Wall of Omens if you have a dragon in your hand. Good job. I'll put a lore counter. Tone of turn becomes monk avatar. The types, creature power toughness equal to. Okay. So another, like, these two compete in the same style of decks. Like, you'd want this in a control deck with a lot of spells, and you'd want this in a control deck with a lot of spells. So, I mean, they fill the same role. This one has a little more practicality because you don't have to spend the mana into it after the first time. But this one's probably a little more capable in that sense. In 4/4, so far, from what I've seen from power toughnesses, most things have been pretty small. If you could exile another creature on the battlefield, this would be even better. In the mythical, and the price would still go maybe one more, but I think that would still be fairly costed. Megamorph Vigilance, nobody cares about that. Welcome back, Kieran. We haven't seen you guys since Kamigawa block. And it's now a creature type, where the other Kierans, pretty sure that they were oh no, they were Kieran as well. They were Kieran spirits. Wait, they were Kieran's and... Huh, who would have thunk? Pacifism. Gain 6 life, draw a card. Overcosted. This could cost 4 and it would still be overcosted. Like, at 3, okay. It just isn't enough. Like, between gaining infinite life and doing infinite damage, I want to do infinite damage. And drawing a card against this, even at instant speed, just isn't worth it. Like 4 for instant speed, okay. 5, no. 6, this is no. Exile target multicolored creature or multicolored enchantment. Why can't you just say permanent? Does kill Deathrite Shaman in other formats. Return target permanent from the graveyard to the battlefield. Sorcery speed rebound. So you get 2 things back for 7 mana. You better 2 things back for 7 mana. I know that they don't like actually reanimating things to the battlefield anymore or into play anymore, but yeah, that's overcosted again. You better have something really good in the graveyard. Excuse me. I've got the hiccups all of a sudden. Oh, that's pacifism. Old card. Good for draft. Not really used in other formats. But since there's been very little removal in this thing, it might see play here. Sandcrafter Mage. Bolster when he comes into play. Okay. Most of these things are probably just going to be able to target themselves. I mean, if you've got something like, here we go, over here, where you can put in X11s, like that would be pretty good. But again, you have to spend X in it. You're not wanting to get this high into, like, to make this viable for that. So you don't want, like, 7 mana. Although this is instant speed. I could see, again, another one of those cards. It's like, this is a finisher. You drop it in a controlled deck, so at end of turn, you can just blah out a ton of little 1/1s, and you go to town. If we see a Planeswalker here, there might be a Planeswalker that's able to adjust in with the 1 mana cost here that actually comes in pretty handy. This could actually see play in a couple of other formats as well as a finisher, just because, like, things like the Angels from Entreat the Angels, if something happens and you need to get out just emergency troops, this could. But the Angels are much better because it's almost the exact same cost. Pretty sure there's a little bit more. I don't. God. There we go. As you can see, I can't type yet. It's one more white. So I was pretty sure it was a little bit different. We have another bolster, and then double everything. That's fine for draft, or in like a White Weenie archetype, which that seems to be what you can pull out of what I've seen so far. There are probably other things with bolster that you can use that with. Megamorph, 3/4 generic. No, thank you. There's a Histodon would be disappointed in you. If you don't know what Histodon is, it's there are other things. Well, we're not going to worry about that. And I misspelled it. Sandcrafter, Stormcarger, Shieldhide Dragon. Okay, let's take a look at one of the dragons. Giant Megamorph, turn faced up, put a +1/+1 on each other. Nobody cares about that. Like, if you're playing with more than one dragon, like, look how much you're spending. You're putting 3 to put it down, and you're paying this, and you're putting up it as a 4/4 flying lifelink. I'd rather just get the 3/3 flying lifelink and not have to deal with the extra crap. And it's each other dragon, so he doesn't even put a second one on himself. Whatever. Not interested in him. When you cast a non-creature spell, gain 2 life. That's fine. Well, that's actually, depending on how fast the burn is in the format or the other aggro decks are in the format, this could be a good thing for a control deck as well. That could see a lot of play, just because you're going to be casting other things to draw spell, or draw cards and play spells. So dealing with their side of the board. And it's just a non-creature spell, so that does include planeswalkers. Okay, that's fine. That's not going to be usable outside of any limited format. When Silk Wrap enters the battlefield, exile target creature converted mana cost 3 or less, and point controls. Play. Okay, nobody cares. This is just got him Oblivion Ring. There we go for creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less until this leaves play. Unless you're blinking it, it's not worth it. Or if you're unlimited. Let me see. Another dragon. Spell. You gain life. So this dragon completely dominates this dragon. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they play a spell. He gets bigger. You gain life. You hit with him. You gain life. What are they going to do? Leave this thing in play? And it's not. It doesn't care what type of spell. Yeah. Much better dragon. If you're looking for a dragon, this is your dragon. We've got a rock. That's Not very good. I mean, it's good air blocker. Not gonna be the thing to win you the game. It's very difficult to win the game hitting for 1 a turn. Destroy a black and red creature. Blocking, you gain 2 life. Okay. Just okay. Nothing really knocking my socks off. There's the 4/4 for 4 guy that was kind of like the Ghost Council was, but I mean, it's not exactly that. We've got a giant wall fish. Not really a wall, but it's a wall, let's be honest. Clone Legion. This will actually be really good in draft, just because I haven't seen very many things that can get over that, but at the same time, he's not swinging through. I mean, we're 1 row up, and nothing here dies to him. Just saying. Beltol Dragon. Hexproof, much better ability than Lifelink right now. Same problem as before, overcosted dragon that we don't care about. Blessed Reincarnation, exile target creature and opponent controls. Reveal top card of library, and reveal shuffle card, put a top one. So this is polymorph just for your opponent only. And you can do it twice. That's not exactly what I was hoping for. I'd rather just have polymorph, I guess. I mean, it would give you 2 shots at polymorph. You could have a giant creature with Shroud, because then you can't even target it. Or you give your guy protection from blue, and boom. Or you have the guy that phases in and out. I mean, so many other options, but you have to deal with your own thing, and you're giving them something. Like, you could be trading their giant threat for something terrible, or you could be dealing with something mediocre, and suddenly you have their giant threat. The only good part about this is that it is instant. So you can stop an attack and deal with something else on your turn. So if you flip into something more dangerous, you can again get rid of it. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff that's getting played now either has come into play abilities or some other ability to take advantage of. So just something to think about. Make a copy of everything, not as good. And look at the top 3 cards of your library. 1 in your hand, rest of your bot. It's perfectly fine. It's a filter. Not card draw, it is a filter. And these cards aren't drawn. You look at them, so if you're in another format like Legacy or Modern or anything that allows you or has a card that lets you basically monitor cards as they're drawn, then this card will actually allow you to skip that entirely. Your opponent will not be able to see it. These cards are being looked at, and then one is being placed into your hand. So they can see 1 of the 3 cards. Counter target spell, draw a card, overcosted. Counters have been neutered for a while, though, so that's not a big thing there. Turn creature becomes blue illusion. Base counter lose all ability gain. So you get a generic 4/4 for 2. Target creature you control. Giant serpent. Serpents typically are not very good. I guess you get 1 shot for 7 if you want to pay 7. Yeah, have fun with that. Dragon Lord Prerogative. Caution, you a dragon card, draw 4 cards, you a dragon card, it can't be countered. Instant speed. Oh, well, that's not terrible. This isn't a bad card in a standard format. Eventually things will rotate out and you will need some form of card draw. If you can get to 6 mana, this is a just fine card. And the fact that it can't be countered is extremely good. Moving forward, how long have we been at this so far? Almost 20 minutes. I am sorry that this is taking so long. Oh, can't be blocked. Unless you're putting stuff on them. Again, ticking for 1 isn't going to be a big thing unless you're unlimited. That could be fine. And you can make him a 2/2 if you want to pay 4 mana, which probably would be worth it. I could do the math on it and figure it out, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you figure out, like, okay, well, I hit you for 2 and it can't be blocked, versus it's probably faster to do it, wait until turn 4 and then megamorph it out. But I mean, if you've got something else, like if you could have the bolster people, you could bolster this thing up and suddenly it becomes at 2/2, and then most of them were 2/2s, and suddenly you've got a 3/3 and you have to wait a little bit longer. But I mean, it's only a single blue, so just something. Target creature gets lightning bolt proof and hex proof. Okay. Red and green creature encased in ice. Taps them and they don't untap. That's fine. It's basically a pacifism for red and green creatures. Whatever. Enchant a creature. Oh, why did I say enchanted creature? So this gets bigger when you play non-creature spells. It's fine. Not amazing. If this had this thing's ability, then yeah, it would be worth it. But then you could also chain it out of control like the last things. So learn from the past. Target player shuffles in the graveyard in the library. Draw a card. Not worth it. That is overcosted, if nothing else. Illusionary Gains. This is a remake, is it not? Nope, it's not. Why did I think that that was a remake? Oh well. You control the creature whenever a creature enters. Did I misspell game? No, I didn't. Okay, so this is basically you get to steal whatever their newest creature is after it's used. So you'll always have a blocker, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. Like, if damage still went on the stack, this could actually be an interesting card for, like, Enchantress. And it would allow you to play, God, what is that? Forbidden Orchard, I believe it is. The Champions of Kamigawa give them a spirit whenever you use it. So you could put damage on the stack, tap your God, I just forgot the name of it. And then put this on their new creature, get your little 1/1 back, and go from there. And their creature would die because damage would be on the stack. It would fall out of combat, and damage would still resolve on it in the other one. So that would be an interesting thing, but that damage doesn't stack anymore, so that's not a possibility. Nice Fall Regent. Let's see the alternate blue dragon. Spells and full. Target this thing. So this thing practically has hexproof. Into the battlefield, and the opponent control does not tap during. Enters the battlefield, tap target creature, and opponent controls that creature doesn't untap during its controllers and tap stuff for as long. Okay, so this basically takes out a creature and protects itself. Much better than hexproof and pumps everything else. Moving forward. Again, the blue dragon you're looking for. Exploit. You can sacrifice a creature, new mechanic. Okay, what happens? When it comes in, exploits a creature. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, or rest in your graveyard. If these had flash, that would be awesome. But right now, it's basically you're updating one of the creatures in your hand in your play for a card in your hand. So you, I'm glad you give you. Yeah, I'm thinking of that cheeseburger thing, and I'm just drawing a blank here. My mouth is actually dry, and I don't have anything to drink. I may pause this video and just put up a part 2. We'll see. I'll probably finish off blue and white, and we'll go from there. Living Lore. As Living Lore enters the battlefield, exile enters sorcery from the graveyard. Power and toughness each will convert a mana cost. Deals combat damage. You can cast it. It's not terrible. If you could get rid of that thing that's like bring 2 things back from your graveyard, you've got a giant 4/4. Most of the spells are probably going to be smaller things, though, or 3/3 or whatever, because you're not going to want to jam pack your deck full of giant 7 mana costed spells, or you're just going to basically screw yourself. Whenever a enchanted creature attacks, you can put a token on it, a copy of it, exile that token at end of combat. Okay, so you have an infinite blocker for something that will most likely kill it, since most creatures are in this shape where their power is bigger than their toughness. You do have a lot that I've seen from this set so far that have been that way. But although I'm not paying the most attention, it's usually this way, where they're the same, or they're bigger in the front than they are in the butt. Let's see. Masonry, Lore Master. Turn faced up, turn target on a permanent from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, it's gigantic. No. This thing could have had flying. It's a djinn. If a djinn can't fly. You've seen Aladdin. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 unless you discard a creature card. This card will see play. Maybe not. It costs 4. I was thinking it cost as much as Compulsive Research. We got rid of a land. It may or may not see play. At 4, that's kind of a big deal. Usually summons, put 2 Djinn Monks tokens with flying! Djinn flying, Djinn fly! And then rebound. So, yeah, put 2 in. I misread it the first time. It's put A, so you get 1, and then you get another 1 the next turn. And it's a sorcery, so it is spread out over the turns. No end of turn shenanigans. By the way, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy. Tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controls and tap step rebound. That's fine. You can stop something from attacking, and then you can block through. No, this isn't fine. This is terrible. It doesn't. So you get 2 turns of being. You get 1 turn of being safe from one thing, and then, you get 2 turns of being safe from one thing attacking you. You get 1 turn of something being safe from something else attacking you, or from blocking. However you choose to look at it. Because you can always play it at the end of their turn, tap something, and then during your upkeep tap something else. Then their next turn they don't untap, so you get 2 attacks through. Let's see. Another Megamorph weird creature that's not worth it because it's converted mana cost. You're paying 7 for a 4/2. I don't even think the math works out on this. Like, there is a point where there's too much damage here for the Megamorph's additional 1 to actually add up to it. Counter target non-creature spell. Negate. Reprint. Find your negates. They're useful again. Moving forward. Base power and toughness of 0/2. Okay. There's a tons of cards that do this. Deceiver. It is a Naga. When did Naga become a thing? Spell only has face down creatures. Manifest creatures. So basically pay face down things or their morph costs. Whatever. Not a good card. I wouldn't recommend this. If you want this ability, I'd suggest finding something else. A simple stone would do this. And by stone, I mean any of the mana rocks. Pay 2 mana, get a generic mana whenever you tap it. Rocks. When of the dead exploits creature, return it to their owner's hands. All creatures your opponent control with toughness less than the exploited creature's toughness. That, again, you're not going to fill your deck with a ton of things, but there's that 1/3 flyer. Like, suddenly you're tossing all of their creatures with toughness less than 3 back into their hands. So this actually could see play. But it would need to be alongside of things that are actually like this card. Like, that would actually be a reason to. And you would be sacrificing this, which I would be all for. I would rather have this than this and bounce their whole hand. When this dies, draw a card. I believe there are cards like that. Killing them isn't exactly what you want to do. Like, this would be something to exploit, but you would get a crappy return on this ability. So, Sight Beyond Sight. This card looked interesting. That's why we're going straight to it. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. The other. Okay. The other. By the way, this is legitimate card draw. You are using 1 card to get 2 of them in your hand. I would actually consider this to be one of the better card draws for this set, if not the best. Fighting out between this and the 6-cost instant speed one, because this one is a sorcery. So at present, this is one of my top draw spells for the format, or for this set. Flash, flying, exploit, counter target spell, target creature spell. That's not terrible. This isn't that bad. Like, this into this actually seems like it would be pretty decent, especially in a limited format. And the fact that this is common and this is uncommon means that you've got a pretty good chance of this. So, even in a constructed format, like, this doesn't seem to be the worst of things. Like, you can either let your opponent sit there and do that, and you play this, and instead of having a 1/1, you get a 2/1, and you get a card, and you counter their spell for the turn. So, just something. And there's got to be other things that have flash or can be done on the end of your opponent's turn. Like put in a bunch of 1/1s. 2 of them to be precise. Sidus Faithful. This is a good card, by the way, if you weren't getting that from that. Exploit. Return target creature to it. Not worth the exploit cost. Would be just fine with that other guy. Was it this one? Yeah. All creatures your opponent controls. Yeah. This and this is actually pretty decent. Whereas this and this are not. And this are not. So exile this, return to the battlefield face down under owner's control. Gets +1/+1 or -1/-1 and Megamorph. It's Morphling. It's a new Morphling. Congratulations. It's overcosted though because of that. I don't know if it'll actually be any good. I could see it being okay. I mean, it doesn't have the protection that Morphling had, the ability to evade that Morphling had. It just has half the pump of Morphling, which is a mana requirement. I don't think the original Morphling actually is required. Yeah, no, the +1 and -1 were that. Morphling. This card used to be broken. So yeah, that's what this was. A worse version of that. Megamorph, turn faced up, counter target instant or sorcery. Just with him morphing things to do that. At least you don't lose any power, and you actually gain a power if you do it this way. So, and it's flying then. That's actually worth it. This isn't terrible. Again, another flying Djinn. Why can't that other Djinn fly? Jeez. And it's a Djinn monk. Okay. Is that the reason for its size? You tell me what Djinn actually needs size. Outside of for amusement's sake. Might do its hair. Skyway's teaching. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1 in blue. Put a da-da-da-da. That's not terrible. I mean, this could, again, is another card that could be your win condition in your control deck when you're end of turn doing random things. But I would much rather have any of the other ones that have shown up so far. A dragon card for a counter spell with 1. Okay. So you have a Force Spike now costs 2 blue, and if you have a dragon in hand, it's counter spell. Not worth it. I'm saying that a lot. Turn faced up, counter target spell unless it's controller pays 3. For 5, you get that ability. And then you get a 3/4. The other thing looked much better. This guy. At least this is spell, but I mean, you're getting to mana leak something for 5 mana, which isn't exactly the greatest of things. Like right now, it's just looking like slim pickings. Here we have another exploitable creature. When it dies, draw 2 cards. Which, I mean, if exploit picks up and somebody finds a way to break it, then yes, this could be useful, but I'm not seeing it. If this was an instant, it would be worth it. You get 2 things. You could end of turn 1 thing, and on your turn, the other thing swing through in the game, or just deal with problematic things. Set them back lands, all those types of fun little doohickeys. But as a sorcery, not as good outside of a limited format. Updraft Elemental. No, thank you. A 1/4 flying is about as good as a 1/3 flying. I mean, granted, you can't lightning bolt it, but lightning bolt's not legal in standard in most of the other formats. If you played this, you're getting laughed at. No offense to the other people who may rely on this in a constructed format outside of standard, but there are better options. Talk to your friends. Open up this site here. It is just look up Magic Info. It will appear. Do some research. You can find something else better in the common slot. Use a spare change from your goings to the store or your hobby shop of choice. Target creature gets until a turn it can't be blocked. This could be helpful, but not being an instant takes it away from being a combat trick. It is strictly to attack your opponent to death, which means you're paying 4 for 4 damage, which even any burn player will tell you that 1 mana for 1 damage is a bad trade. You do not want to have to spend 20 mana to win the game. Draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap it. That's fine. This is actually pretty decent. It's a filter through your deck card that gives you the ability to continue filtering, and it actually has a power on it. I would actually relate this to being Bob. Call me crazy. So as I said, I'm going to put a pause in the video here while I go get something to drink. I will finish this off and probably upload the next video tomorrow. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If this is something that's okay with you guys, go ahead and let me know in the comments. There were like 2 comments on my thing that asked you guys legitimately what you wanted. So yeah, I don't expect to see much. I don't expect many people to actually be following me anymore, seeing as it's been years since I've done anything Magic related online. But I am at this point a neutral party into the cards in selection. If you have any cards that I might be overlooking or you'd like me to go more in depth on, at the end of this, after I've gone through all 5 colors plus the colorless, which is 6, so I'll probably do this is the, let me see, war black into red, or yeah, black into red section, which would be next, and then artifacts, and well, we'll call it green and colorless. We'll go through any additional lands or multicolors that are also in there as well in the last section. At the end of those 3, I will go over any cards that you guys found interesting. I'll give it until the pre-release day to put those up or see if there's anything there, and then immediately go into explaining why I think or what I think about a certain card. I'll take a more deeper look at them, a more in-depth look at them then. But let me know. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye.